So actually, when you put the API keys on the application, then you can actually protect the website against fraud, against bots, against all those malicious attacks. Okay, so we're going to continue the series and we'll look at the next question. So the next question is, what's the benefit of Google Workspace for businesses? Now, Microsoft has it as used to have it as Microsoft Office, then later became Office 365. Google's own productivity tool is called Google Workspace. That's why if you're loading your Gmail, you see the workspace symbol, loading workspace. So workspace have Gmail, Docs, Meet, Drive, Google Maps, and all of those kind of stuff. So the benefit is for what? Collaboration and productivity. That's why you can create a Google form and multiple people can have access to the form and edit it. You can create a Google document, docs.google.com, create a document, and so many you can give and share access so that many people can actually use that particular document. So what's the main function of Google Cloud Armor? So this service is for DDoS attacks. What is DDoS? Distributed denial of service. So what is denial of service? Now, we talk about service, servers, applications. If I need to print, if I need to fill a form, if I need to upload something to a server, if I need to download something, think about anything you will normally do when you use an application, a software, any IT infrastructure. Those things are called services. So when you are denied any of those services, you call it a denial of service. Let's say a malicious software, a malicious application or script prevents you from being able to fill a form or make a website not available or compromises any of the elements of information security. So you have a denial of service. Then once it becomes a distributed denial of service, it then means that not just one script application malware is causing that. Malware is the umbrella word for malicious software. So you are saying that multiple, most likely in a bot, they are arming together to make sure that they cause disruption, they cause business discontinuity. And that's what you call a distributed denial of service. Now, Cloud Armor helps to protect against that, especially for unauthorized traffic coming from multiple sources. Now, Google shared responsibility model. In the training class, I explained this in great detail, that the Google Cloud shared responsibility model is going to help you actually tell who should be responsible for different aspects of the cloud, right? So let's look at the table. The table explains these fundamental stuffs. Shared responsibility model. So this is what the shared responsibility model looks like, right? Let me just reduce this. So this is what the shared responsibility model looks like. So when you're on premise, right, typically everything is managed by you. So this is customer responsibility. This is Google responsibility. So when you're on-prem, you take care of everything, your network, your storage, hardening your kernel, your boot sectors, your hard drive, your hard disks, your hardware, typically everything is your responsibility to manage, to secure, to deploy those contents and all of that. For IaaS, that is infrastructure as a service. So you see from this point up, it is the responsibility of the customer. Whereas you see login, network, storage, hardening of the kernel, the boot sectors, the hardware, the physical security, these are the responsibilities of Google, right? All of these responsibility of Google. All of this responsibility of Google, right? Responsibility of Google, right? These are the responsibility of Google. Now, you call this the shared responsibility model because you see the customer and Google is responsible for different aspects of the cloud. But understand that no matter the kind of cloud model you are using, you are always responsible. And for your exam, that question, you're just going to find that question most times. It's going to ask you who is going to be responsible for data, right? Who's going to be responsible for data in terms of security? Is always what? Is always the customer. Whether you on, imagine you put your data in the cloud and you don't secure it. That's none of the business of any of the cloud service provider. It's your business. That content, we should have access to it, right? Those things are your responsibility, whichever of the cloud service model that you use. So what is Google Cloud Shared Responsibility Model? I just explained that. So the customer and Google share responsibility, right? So it's not only just third party. It's not the customer's responsibility to secure the cloud infrastructure. It's not Google that has control over managing everything in the cloud. No, the customer and Google shares the responsibility. So what's the main function of Google Cloud Interconnect? So this is to help us. You see, when you have the cloud and you have your on-premise, if you want to connect data or push data from your premise to the cloud, you can use the dedicated connection to do that. So you just have fiber optics. You have very, very wired connection from your premise to Google Cloud, right? So it's going to be a very, very high bandwidth connection. Now, another question is, what are the key features of Google's cloud identity and access management? What are the core features, right? So it provides granular access control on role basis, allow users to share accounts, no. Restrict API usage to a single administrator, no. Store users password, no. The answer should be B. Provide granular. When we say granular, we mean detailed. That's what I am. Google have IAM, AWS have IAM, GCP have IAM, Azure have IAM, right? I use most of the cloud platforms and it's very, very similar, same kind of principle across board. So the answer is B. The IAM provides granular access control. Then the next question here is, what's the primary use case of pub and sub? So this is publish, subscribe. Publisher, subscribe. Imagine if you are creating an application and you want another application to like get information from one application to know what's happening. Let's say you build a software, then you want another application to get notified when a user fills an information so that another application can send an email, right? So that particular service is called the pub sub service. So it's a real-time messaging event-driven architecture, right? So it's actually real-time messaging and event-driven architecture. So how does Google Cloud Security Command Center help businesses? So it just gives you threat detection, security insight. You see, each of these services, you can look them up so that you can better understand these cloud services, right? So Security Command Center, so it gives you cloud security risk management for multi-cloud environment. So it just gives you a kind of cloud posture. When you say posture, you mean your security stand. Where are you standing? How is your security? What are some of the vulnerabilities that you might have? What are some misconfigurations that you have that can make you vulnerable to an attack? How do you kind of investigate or see and remediate some of these high risk factors that you have? So that's what the features of the Security Command Center. So they have different options. You can use the enterprise, you can use premium, you can use standard. Standard is not cost. Premium is pay as you go. Then of course, enterprise is subscription-based pricing. Right? So if you see in all the answers here, the best answer is provide threat detection and security insights. Now, the next question is that, what's the main advantage of Google Cloud multi-cloud strategy? Now, you see, that's why as a Google partner, for instance, you see, even in Google Learning in School Boost, you are going to find that Google gives opportunity. Even the other service provider gives opportunity for people to actually. So Google actually gives opportunity for you to like bring your learnings, bring your other assets from the different cloud service provider, helps to like bring it on board. So that's one advantage of multi-cloud strategy. So I talked about earlier on-prem, cloud, hybrid, and multi-cloud. So multi-cloud is you using different cloud service providers, right? So the advantage here is that it's going to reduce vendor lock-in. So you don't want to be just tied to only Google or tied to only Azure or just tied to only AWS or tied to only IBM or Alibaba or any of the cloud service provider. So it's going to help also reduce redundancy and give you some kind of flexibility. Now, when we talk about containerized application, what you can use to do that is GKE, right? That's the correct answer to this question. Now, the next question is going to be for data flow. It's going to help you provide real-time and batch data, right? Real-time and batch data. So if you need to do analyze or process data real-time, especially let's say from IoT devices, from cameras, from let's say FX or weather forecast or anything that is actually real-time data, let's say currency, FX fluctuation, those kind of data that is actually real-time, or things that are batched, something you want to put in stages or you want to batch, you want to have 1 terabyte. Okay, so you can actually use the Google Cloud, the data flow. So data flow is going to help you achieve that. It's not managing virtual machines. Virtual machines does that. It's not hosting websites. If it's static websites, you can use any of the storage services to just like store those content. It's not Kubernetes, this is for container services. So the correct answer here is A. Anthos, I think we've talked about this in one of the questions, is actually for helping us to manage multi-cloud systems. Cloud functions, I've talked about cloud functions is for event-driven applications, right? The correct answer here is, so you can see in your exam, you're going to see one question asked in several or different ways. That happens, especially if that particular domain covers quite a lot. Like if you see in the content for you have, I think you have six modules, right? You have 6 modules for your exam preparation. Each of them is going to have slightly different percentage in terms of width. So you want to understand most of the concept very well so that you can easily answer your questions and you can pass your exam. Now for number 48, what is Google Cloud's recommendation for securing sensitive data? Right? So KMS, key management system, key management service. Don't store data in encrypted formats. Don't disable IAM policies. Don't use publicly accessible storage. Your best answer is going to be P, right? So this is going to help you manage keys in the cloud and ensure that data is protected. Now, which cloud service helps business to reduce costs by identifying underutilized resources? It's going to be Cloud Recommender, right? So it's not going to be storage, it's not IAM, it's not run, it's Recommender. Now, the last question is going to be the main benefit of Google Cloud sustainability efforts. Now, understand that in the last module, Google is doing quite a lot of effort to reduce carbon pollution, right? So that's why they invest a lot in green and renewable energy so that on the long run, in terms of cost also, the cost is actually very, very low, and that is also transferred to customers. Now, the major benefit of this is so Google, I think by 2050, want to make sure that they convert most of their data centers to completely green energy and power source. Okay, that's going to be all for the 50 questions for the Google Cloud Digital Leader Certification exams. If you have questions, you can ask if you're taking this as an internship, as a training, as a mentorship. And also if you want to take part in any of our mentorship program or our internship program, either in data, in cloud, in software, in cybersecurity, you can reach out, make your subscription, and you're going to be into the class. You're going to be added into the class. Thank you, and see you in the next series.